The following is a presentation of the Missouri Sports Network.
Step into the new when you drive a Chevy. It's time for a fresh approach and a new perspective. And find the Chevy that's right for you. Find new experiences, find new roads. Chevrolet.
Hey, welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network. Guy Newcomb, the scoreboard guy, alongside. Certainly glad you have tuned in. And as always, coming to you live from the Pizza Ranch studio and presented by Great Southern Bank. Great Southern Bank with more than 100 locations in 6 states. They care as much about your money as you do. Great Southern Bank, member FDIC. Liuna, Labor's Local 663. Building Missouri State, building Missouri. Liuna, Labor's Local 663. Going north to Higbee High School, and the head coach for Higbee head boys basketball coach at Higbee, Tanner Burton. Coach, thanks so much for your time today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us on.
You bet, Coach. At number one, you guys are off tremendous start. You're 2/3 basically of the way through the season, 17-0 on the season. Tell us a little bit about the team and how it's gone up to this point.
Well, we're 17-2. 2 losses come to a Sacred Heart team coming off back-to-back tournament weeks, and lost to Newburgh, which we kind of spun together a game at 1 o'clock on a Friday afternoon and traveled 2 hours and 20 minutes southeast on a Monday, and played a competitive, good squad. Just to come up short. We've played a lot of good basketball so far this season. Started off the season with the Northwestern Tournament Championship, and we're headed into a pretty good week here. We're going to play Wellsville Middletown. It's coming off a Final Four Saturday for a tournament championship at Keatsville, and then we got Brunswick that's going to decide the conference championship, and then we're going to go and play Van Far, who's a solid Class 2 squad at Harrisburg at the Ramey Invitational next Friday. So we got a lot of good basketball coming up. So it's going to push us, and we're excited to see, how this goes down the stretch.
Coach, tell us a little bit about last season and what you had to replace coming into this season due to graduation.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately last year we went 26-3, lost in the district championship to Wellsville Middletown, who went on to the Final Four. We lost 4 starters, so we come back. Derek's our only starter on this squad that returns, and obviously I think there was a lot of question marks. We kind of threw all the guys to the wolves this summer. We went to Raleigh, we went to Stratford, and we played some big schools this summer to push us and make sure we were everybody was ready to step up to the challenge. And I think thus far I think everybody's kind of exceeded what probably the outsiders thought we would do. And so obviously when you're doing stuff like that, that's pretty special. And so our big mentality is just keep grinding. Doesn't matter what we got as long as we're all on the same page. And these young men are all owning it. And obviously this young man right here is doing a tremendous job leading this squad. And so when you've got something like that, it's pretty special.
Yeah, being geographically challenged as I am, you might kind of give the viewers just a little bit of an idea of where you're located and maybe some of the other teams in your conference.
Sure. So we're actually about a half hour north of Columbia and about 15 minutes southwest of Moberly, so north central Missouri. Our conference, ironically, we are the furthest east. We play teams over as far west as like Bramer, Hardin Central, Breckenridge, Southwest Ludlow. So we've got conference trips to go 2 hours to the west, and our closest is about 40 minutes or so to Keatsville is our closest probably conference opponent. So it stretches about 2 hour span to the west and a Class 1 conference.
And you mentioned you got the tournament championship coming up at the end of this week, which we are at the end of this week. But tell us a little bit about your opposition there and what you're going to have to do to come out on top.
Yeah, I mean, Wellsville's been a good opponent for us. Last year, we lost to them by 7 in the championship of the Keatsville tournament. We kind of played at our speed. Then in the district title game, I think we fell by 4 in like a 34-38 game. And so ultimately, Coach Lasman likes to play a slow, methodical style. And so if we allow that pace to be dictated by them, if they get an early lead, they will run as much time off the clock as they can. And, oftentimes when his teams got to the postseason, that shot clock discussion came up a whole lot. And I mean, it's a premier example of why that happens. And so he's willing to play, either way. But I would say against us tomorrow, it's going to be as slow and steady as it can be played. So our challenge is how do we make sure we don't allow that pace to to unfold that way, I guess.
Again, we're visiting with Higbee Tigers head boys basketball coach Tanner Burton and our Chevy dealers of the Ozarks Athlete of the Week Junior, Derek Rocket. Coach, tell us a little bit about Derek and what makes him special.
Well, you just look at Derek, he's a competitor. He would tell you that his best sport's baseball. And so for a kid that, that's his mentality, the reality is he's an extremely special young man on the basketball court. He's an elite athlete overall. When you look at what he does on the baseball field here, I mean, if he was to do cross country and track, there's no doubt in my mind he would be a all-state kind of kid. But the reality is he just loves basketball and baseball, and he owns it. And that passion is just something you can't dictate. I've told him, and I've told many coaches that it's like having a coach on the floor. Oftentimes this young man just knows he's a step ahead of everybody else. And so that maturity and that mindset and just his work ethic just separates him. And so for a kid that just demands so much of himself, to get the reward and see the success he's seen, I think that's a really positive thing. And that's what you want, because you preach to young kids. And, as I coach in the future, I'll preach to kids about how much time and effort he put in and the results that followed. And I think that's really special. And oftentimes you get kids that have the ability and they don't put in the work. And so this is one of those young men that has both and does both. And he's not satisfied with where he's at. And, that's what I've said. His freshman year, I said there was 3 young men on that team that scored a lot. And if you didn't have all of them, one of them would score 30 points a game. And here we are. Last 6, 7, 8 games, he's been averaging almost 37 points a game. And so when you do stuff like that, that's pretty insane. And for a junior, it's pretty special. And, the future's bright at Higbee.
Derek, hey, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you.
And on behalf of the Missouri State Highway Patrol and Chevy dealers of the Ozarks, congratulations on being named an Athlete of the Week.
Yeah, it's an honor.
And my first question has to be, because I'm a mandated reporter, so do you always wear your seatbelt?
Yes, always.
Very good. Now take us back into here recently. You went over 1,500 points. You're at 1,543, and I don't believe that includes last night's game. But number one, did you realize you were approaching that number?
No, I don't really focus on career points or early points in a season at all. It's more just I go out, do what needs to be done to win. I don't really focus on the total I have.
Well, Coach mentioned, over the past several games, you've been averaging in that mid-30s, 37 points a game. Tell us what's working really well for you right now.
Well, right now, so we started the season, and I had never been really the guy to score a lot of points. But as the season went, I kind of figured out the certain spots and when I need to take my shot, and it's kind of really played out well toward the latter half.
Well, and it's 17-2 on the season. You've played in 62 games that you've came out on top of. 62 career wins, just 12 losses. It's 84%. What are some things right now that as a team this season that you feel like your team is doing really well and you're doing really well?
I think we out hustle that other team every game. It seems like we want to win more, mainly.
Yeah.
We play defense.
You got 27 blocks, in your career as well. Tell us a little bit about kind of who's kind of influenced you, who's had the most influence over it. Maybe parents. It may be someone you went to school with as a freshman that was an upperclassman that kind of helped mold you, and of course your coaching staff. Tell us about those influencers in your life.
Yeah, probably my freshman year, we had a senior, Keaton Redifer. He kind of taught us a lot. He had been playing for 4 years, and he was a scorer with us. Probably family, I got my dad. He's helped me my whole life through youth basketball, and I got an uncle, Matt Bowles. He talks to me a lot about basketball, and it seems I've learned a lot from him.
Coming into this season, did you have any personal goals or team goals that you wanted to accomplish?
Yeah, I was probably 32-0 was the main goal I was thinking of, but we fell a little short there. I just like to win.
Were there games on your schedule that and tonight or this next game may be one of them that you're really looking forward to?
Yeah, tonight's a big one. The Sacred Heart was a big one that I felt like we needed that win. Um, Probably Van Far and Harrisburg. It's always fun to play there.
Very good. Are these games now, a lot of guys, and you're a baseball guy, I'm a baseball guy, you're warming up in the, the bullpen, for example, and you feel like, you're really on, or you're taking BP and you think, man, I'm seeing the ball well. The basketball players go through that where you think, I'm not going to miss a shot tonight. I mean, are there games where you really feel like, hey, I've got it tonight?
Oh, for sure. Some days in warm-ups, it feels like you can't miss. And some days in warm-ups feels like you can't make anything, but come game time, something just clicks and it's there.
You bet. Well, Derek, again, a tremendous start here to your this season, but also to your career. You still got, a third of your season left this year. You've got entire next year as well. But just wanted to reach out and have an opportunity to visit with you and congratulate you for the award.
Yep, thank you.
You bet. Coach, and again, we're visiting with the Higbee Tigers and their head coach, Tanner Burton, and Athlete of the Week, Derek Rocket. But Coach, you've got a big game tonight, tournament championship. What are you going to have to do tonight to come out on top?
I think it's just we got to work hard for 4 quarters, and I think if we put in 4 quarters of our quality basketball, I think there's no doubt, and I think that's just got to be our mindset going in. These young men know what it takes to win and win at a high level, and so the reality is we all just have to make sure we come out and we bring everything we can to the table, and if we do that, we'll be successful.
You bet. Well, gentlemen, I greatly appreciate you being generous with your time here today. I know, Coach, you were not at school today and had to head up and get this worked out, but I really appreciate it. And again, but Derek, congratulations on behalf of the Missouri State Highway Patrol and Chevrolet.
Thanks.
We appreciate it.
You're watching the Missouri Sports Network at MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow.